to What's Right with the World with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to What's Right with the World. Today, we're going to go to Ben, as usual, for our first story.
Hey, Glenn. So today we are talking about Ireland and their divestment from fossil fuel. So it just came out in the New York Times, and that is where I'm reading this article from today, that Ireland moves to divest from fossil fuels. They are taking all of its public funds out of fossil fuels, basically, is what divestment means. So they are the first country. The lower house of parliament passed a bill that requires the country's sovereign fund, valued at 8.9 billion euros or $10.4 billion, to move out of fossil fuels as soon as possible. So the government will no longer be funding oil.
So they're going right into the renewable energy.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be putting all of their funds, all of their governmental assets and funds towards renewable energy, and not spending any of it on the fossil fuels, the oil and gas.
Well, it seems like we're getting, we talked about Portugal doing some big stuff on this, and a lot of the countries around the world are really making huge strides in at levels that we've never seen before. I mean, it's huge commitments and huge jumps in this direction that whole countries are making, which is phenomenal. It's because we have to make the jumps to see how it's going to work, because there's going to be different things that need to be navigated and figured out and worked through, and the only way that's going to happen is if we move in a direction of it. Right. So the fact that, we're making these big jumps to, and it also tells us that, that they got to have a high level of confidence that this is going to work.
Yeah.
For them to be able to be making these gigantic leaps in this direction. I mean, there's got to be a lot of research and a lot of, information that says that, this is doable, and we've got the technology at this point.
And as we've always said, the Industrial Revolution was only, not even 200 years ago. So,
right.
So to have this feeling of we have to have fossil fuels and that's the only thing that we've ever done. Yeah, it's the only thing that we've done so far, but the amount of technological advances that we've made in the last 10 years even, but the last 100, 200 years to have built what we have today and what we know of today. There's no reason why, if you do something like this, if you stop putting the money, it's the same, it's the whole thing that the Great Love Project is, right? So you put energy towards something, it expands.
Right.
And in this case, the country, Ireland, is taking its energy, its money, its focus, and it's moving it away from this and towards this new technology and this new solution.
Right.
And because of that, those things are going to expand now.
Yeah, and I think it's, to me, I always go in a direction of things that make sense kind of at their core, and I remember being fairly young when just the thought of solar and wind and stuff like that for our energy, water, all this stuff that we have in nature to be providing energy for us, it just kind of makes sense to me. It's it's there and it's clean. It's not, it's not polluting our atmosphere by using it, and it's right there for us. It just makes sense to me that a loving creator would create a world that has energy sources right there for us if we need energy. I mean, everything's based on energy, but yeah, we don't have, for us to not have access to a form of energy that's unlimited when the whole world is based on energy, that it just doesn't make sense to me, so, or that there's a drawback from using it or something. It's, if I'm a creator, I'm going to create something. If it's all based on energy, I'm not going to limit the energy that it has. I'm going to have it unlimited. So I think that's why this stuff makes sense to me. And, I'm sure, I know that there's people on both sides and, they can talk all the technical jargon and all that stuff. I'm not concerned with it. I'm not. They can stay concerned with it. I'm just not getting into the conversations. But like, that's the core reason why it just makes sense to me. And I think and we're seeing everything going in that direction, which to me is exciting. So the more we expand this, the more larger countries are going to be able to, use what they've learned in the smaller countries where they're capable of doing it on a smaller scale. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think what they're doing is really important. This is kind of cool. I really like this aspect of this because, some of the smaller countries, I think subconsciously we think smaller is not as important. And this is a good example of why that's not true, because, the United States might be a bigger country, but we could not make a leap like that, whereas Ireland's a smaller country, and they can. So in them doing it, it can expand and move to larger countries like the United States and other countries, in the world that are larger scale, right? Which it wouldn't be possible if they didn't do it first.
And that's the other thing. They're not banning fossil fuels right now. They're not banning companies like Exxon and stuff from being from being there and having a presence there. Right. They're taking what they have control over right now, which is, they could ban it. They have control over that, but they're taking the government money and saying we're not using it for that. Right. Which is a huge thing.
Yeah, and that's also an important point. They're not saying, "Hey, we're going to fight this." They're just saying, "No, we're going to put our energy towards this."
Right, which is why it reminded me of the whole purpose of the Great Love Project.
Right.
All right, so that's fantastic. If you have other news stories that you'd like for us to talk about, or just good things that you'd like to share, use the hashtag What's Right with the World. Use the hashtag The Great Love Project. Let us know. We'd love to talk about it. If you have something you want to talk to us about it on The Great Love Project at Facebook. Glenn, they want to talk to you, glennambrose.com.
That's me.
Yeah, he's available for life coaching and all of that stuff from anywhere in the world.
All right. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we will talk at you soon.
Glenn is available for life coaching sessions. To book an appointment or for more information, go to glennambrose.com, follow him on Facebook and Twitter, or click the link in the description of this episode.